Right now, there's 6,000 migrants. Take a look. Just underneath this port of entry right here. And this is as close as we're going to bring you tonight. You can see down here, we have families, we have adults and unaccompanied minors waiting to be processed. We've also spent the entire afternoon speaking with local officials, including the sheriff and the county judge here in Del Rio. And they tell me this is an unbelievable situation, one that they've never dealt with like before. And still, there's nothing that can be done to stop these families from coming. We do have video from earlier today, and here you can see thousands of families taking shelter underneath the bridge. Some here are walking across with bags. Verde County Judge Owens tells me while the migrants wait to be processed, they walk back and forth between the U.S. and Mexico to buy food. Judge Owens says there is a caravan of 25,000 migrants headed for the Texas border. How quick they'll get here, that's unknown. But he says some of them right here started their trek in Venezuela on September 10th, catching flights to Mexico, and tonight they're here all in less than a week. Now, the mayor of Del Rio, Bruno Lozano, putting out this letter calling and asking the federal government, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and Homeland Security for more manpower, questioning how Border Patrol, their sector here, is supposed to get a handle on this situation. We reached out to Customs and Border Patrol, who said they're working with local, state, and federal partners to process migrants in a safe, humane, and orderly process. While they are providing water, towels, and restrooms that we can see down here to the thousands of migrants under the bridge, not all of them will get to stay here. Their statement reads in part, quote, "The vast majority of single adults and many families will continue to be expelled under the CDC's Title 42 authority, and those who cannot be expelled under Title 42 and do not have a legal basis to remain in place, they will be placed in expedited removal proceedings." Now, tonight I can tell you that the majority of the immigrants down here are Haitians. We've reached out to your lawmakers, both Republican and Democrats, asking how they're planning to help this ongoing situation many say is a border crisis. While we wait to hear back, I can tell you that Congressman Tony Gonzalez will be here tomorrow. He's going to be touring the area with Customs and Border Protection. We're going to stay here and bring you the very latest on this developing story then.
The Damon Allen Act is now law in Texas.
The Damon Allen Act is named after a Texas trooper who was killed in 2017 by a man released on a cash bond of $15,000. The law limits cashless bonds for several crimes, but some say there's a problem with the law's provisions.
It doesn't stop anybody who's accused of being violent or committing a violent crime from being released from custody while their case is pending. What it does is it keeps folks that are impoverished from being released if they don't have the means to pay their bail.
Judge Ron Rangel says the law has some upsides. It now allows a judge to view an individual's past records when deciding what bond is necessary. It also says judges have to undergo training to make sure the bond fits the crime.
We've already implemented all the positive reforms that are in this bill in Bexar County, and we've done so for years.
The Bexar County Public Defender's Office says a downside to SB 6 is a provision that limits local or state charitable agencies, like churches or nonprofits, from helping poorer offenders post bail. With limited charity options, they fear more people will have to sit in jail while they await a trial.
Our jail population is probably 300 people less today because of their efforts. They've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars to bail people out.
We have 4,400 people that are sitting in Bexar County Jail right now awaiting their cases to go to trial or serving time on misdemeanor offenses only. I cannot see how we would be able to house any other inmates that are currently have cases pending in our county.
We reached out to Bexar County District Attorney Joe Gonzalez to get his thoughts on the bill. We were sent a statement that said, in part, quote, "It does not address the problem inherent with cash bail. If dangerous people can be released because they have money while poor people presumed innocent sit in jail for minor offenses, we still have a lot of work to do."
This is the courtroom where Bexar County Judge Rogelio Lopez hears eviction cases. But the Precinct 4 judge says most of the tenants and landlords on his docket haven't come through here because they've already worked out things on their own.
Raise your hand.
Armed with a special docket of cases that were in litigation when the CDC's eviction moratorium ended 3 weeks ago, Judge Lopez is not worried about the 100 evictions he has scheduled this week.
Many of the tenants had moved out.
He says most of the tenants in financial trouble have applied for local and federal money and got it. As for the number of evictions filed in his precinct,
June, we had 311 filed. July, we had 229 filed. August, we had 417 filed.
He believes these numbers have remained consistent, even after the eviction moratorium ended.
We've had 194. We're halfway through the month.
But evictions are still happening.
If the appellate time has gone, then the only thing left to do is to issue a writ.
Deputy Dwayne Weeks at Constable Precinct 3 office on the north side has seen a spike in this part of the eviction process when tenants have no option but to leave.
It has to be done because it's a court order.
But Deputy Weeks adds each person has until the very last moment to apply for financial help. And with millions still available in the Texas Rent Relief Fund and the Emergency Housing Assistance Program, he says,
As soon as you think you're going to have a financial hardship coming up, talk to your landlord.